Thank you, Libby. Okay, so my analogy that I like to use for astrology and how, what it is and how it really applies to your life. If you think of your astrological chart, your astrological blueprint as a map of you. It's like a map of the journey of your life with all of the different areas and the terrain. And you've got some places that are lush and sunny and grassy, and some places that might have a lot of flowing water. You've got some places that might have a really windy, mountainous road. You've got some places that might be very rocky terrain. Just like all these different areas and different types of terrain and different roads that all make up the map of your life. This is you. And in some places, you know where you might hit bumps if it's a bumpy area or if it's a really curvy road. And in some places, you know where you can just lay in the sunshine and bask in the light and feel the joy of it all. In some places, you're going to have to, get in a boat and ride the rapids a little bit. It just shows you so many different aspects of who you are, what your journey is meant to be, where the high points are, where the rough points are, so many different things. So that's your chart. That is you. Now, the transits are coming in as like different weather systems. Okay, so maybe there is going to be some stormy weather coming over here in this area of your terrain, and you need to be very careful of what's happening over here in this stormy area. Maybe there's going to be a load of sunlight, sunshine, gorgeous weather coming over here, and you can make the most of it if you choose to come over here and lay in the sun. Maybe there's this torrential storm coming through and you need to go hang out in this cave to stay protected from this storm. And in your time in this cave, you are actually going to spend a lot of time learning about yourself and going within if you allow it while the storm passes. So you might prefer to be out in the sunny weather, but right now the storm is asking you to go into the cave. So the transits are the weather systems that are coming through and affecting our journey, where your actual astrological chart and blueprint is the terrain, the path, the journey of your unique life and self. So sometimes I find that analogies really help people to grasp on to ideas that are a little more abstract. All right, so I want to go ahead and dive in with your questions. And my plan was to go in reverse birthday order. So that means, Bree, we're starting with you. You can ask any question.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've got to be honest, Angie. I did not come prepared because I was coming to listen. I just wanted to be a part of community today.
Yes.
I wanted to join your last circle, and we had some family stuff happen, so I couldn't be there. Um, so I don't know if I really have anything prepared. I know what I've been experiencing. My the Aries full moon just happened. The eclipses have been wild. Honestly, 2025 has been a little insane, I would
Yes.
say. I am also a reflector in human design, and so I'm very familiar with that ebb and flow, at least to today. I apologize if you can hear my dog. Uh, let's see. So I don't know. I guess maybe I don't so much have any targeted questions I would ask if there's anything coming up with these next full moons that maybe you would say would be the focus. So we've got two super moons that are coming up, and we know how attached we are. And so if we're looking at what's ahead, maybe how that would impact. I know this one has given me fire energy. I've had a lot of energy this week. Obviously Aries, but almost a tad chaotic in the solar plexus, if I'm being honest. I just got done with acupuncture, which I absolutely adore. And that's really the one thing that helps bring me back to center. So I guess it would be anything that you have to give me for guidance for what's coming up with the last 2 months of the year as I'm just waiting for 2026 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, let me ask you your rising sign.
Sure, let me get it. One sec. I have it right here. Because I don't have these memorized. My rising sign. If I'm looking at my chart, what would that be?
That's your
Okay.
ascendant.
Your
That's
ascendant. Oh, Aquarius, I think is my ascendant.
okay.
Let me see. Why isn't it on this one? I'm pretty sure it's Aquarius because I think very briefly you and I talked about this on we met on Chris's call, the reflector circle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So
ascending
you're an
ascending
Aries.
Aquarius.
Yeah, so you're an Aries sun and Aquarius rising.
Yes.
How cool is it? We have so much Aquarius energy on this call right now. How cool is
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
love that. Like, and that's the thing, that's the kind of thing that you can't like you can't plan that, you know? I absolutely love it. So, okay. First of all, I want to say a couple of things that are just a little more general. So this is going to apply to everybody. So Maggie and Libby take this as well. 2025 is a unprecedented year. It is the year, and I know you guys have heard me say this before, but all of the shifts that have taken place astrologically this year, um, it cannot be documented when this happened previously for all of the planets to shift within the same year, which is what has happened this year. All of the planets have shifted signs within this year. It is estimated 15th century, but it cannot be actually documented by astrologers or historians when it happened. So I have been saying all year to my people that this is the year we came here for. This is actually the year when everything shifts and we actually step into the new after this year. So, yes, you say it's been a crazy, chaotic year. Yeah, it's literally an unprecedented year. So, we're all feeling that. But we came here to navigate this and to move through it so we could get to the other side and then assist others along the way. That's why we are all here, because it is part of our journey to do this work ahead of everybody else. So we can then turn into guides for people who are awakening after the fact. And we all know this. Um, this is also, in addition to the fact that we've had all the planets shift signs this year. This is also a 9 year. So we get that by adding up 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, and that equals 9. So every year, we can do this and get a number either 1 through 9. So a 9 year is a year of completion. It is endings. It is wrapping up the cycle, and this cycle that started for all of us in late 2016, early 2017. So we are wrapping up this 9 year cycle, and we are in the midst of this massive transformation that we can't even wrap our brains around. So, what I would say to everybody that the last 2.5 months is offering you at this point, first of all, you want to finish out the work that started for you 9 years ago. Make sure that you are finishing the 9 year cycle that is about to be complete. And I can't tell you what that is without, going into a deeper personal conversation with you, but you can look back at your life. Look back at what was happening for you in late 2016. Look back at everything that came through for you in 2017, because that was a 1 year. Okay, so 2016 was the 9 year, 2017 was the 1 year. So we had a lot of endings and a lot of new beginnings. So you are wrapping up this 9 year cycle. And we are in a lot of Scorpio energy right now. We've got Mars in Scorpio, we've got Mercury in Scorpio. In a couple of weeks, the sun will be in Scorpio. So we are fully in Scorpio season in a couple of weeks. That Scorpio energy is really asking us to dig deep. to go deeper than we probably want to go deeper than what feels comfortable, and make sure we are really getting to the root of those transformations that have happened not only in this year of 2025, but also in the last 9 years, because we want to step into 2026. January 1st, 2026 is 111. This is clean slate. What? Because 2026, 6 plus 2 is 10. You get that, that's one. It is a 111 day. Clean slate. You want it to be as clean as possible. In order for that to happen, you have to be willing to do the rest of the work that the last 2.5 months are asking of you. Scorpio is going to dig it out. Okay, so where that Scorpio energy falls for you. So, Bree, excuse me while I count on my fingers. You are Aquarius, Pisces, Aries. Well, it's probably easier to go backwards from Aquarius to Capricorn 12th, Sagittarius 11th, Scorpio 10th. Okay, so Scorpio is your 10th house. That's career. That's your career.
So as I'm looking at this, is that on, am I looking at my Placidus per, portion of this chart?
Okay,
Placidus? I
use
can't pronounce that.
Placidus. You're talking about Placidus. Yeah,
Yeah.
I use whole sign. I find that that is a lot more easy for people to navigate, especially when you are in the early stages of astrology. And what that does is it's one house per one sign.
Okay.
So that means like if you're in Aquarius rising, all of your
Mhm.
Aquarius placements are in your first house.
Okay.
All of your Pisces placements are in your second house. All of your Aries placements are in your third house. So if we
Okay.
move backwards to Scorpio from Aquarius, all of your Capricorn placements are 12th house. All of your Sagittarius placements are 11th house. All of your Scorpio placements are 10th house. So that's how I would interpret your astrology.
Okay. Interesting. So I what I see on mine is like Aquarius 1, Aries 2, Taurus 3. So that's something different.
No, that is right. I just went
Oh,
backwards.
you
Keep
just went
going
back. Okay.
around.
So
Keep going around.
Capricorn 12, Sag 11 and 10, Scorpio 9. Okay. I see what you're doing.
Okay, see, so where that Placidus shifts it is where it put Sagittarius in 11
Cute.
and 10. See, I would not
Okay.
whole sign, it's one house per one sign.
Okay. I'll see if I can get a different chart pulled up then. I don't want to
So
confuse myself. This stuff is
yeah,
already
I
very
always use
confusing.
whole sign because I find it is much easier for people to understand. And even when people have had their charts read in Placidus and I read it for them in whole sign, it like opens up a whole new world.
Okay. Okay. Is there a
So,
specific website you would recommend for me to
well,
pull this from?
I use AstroSeek, but
Yeah.
you do have to go in and physically change because it will pull in Placidus automatically.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go in and physically change that to whole sign.
Full site. Okay.
But
Okay.
for the
This
moment, let's just consider that the Scorpio energy that is digging everything up for you right now is in your 10th house. Okay, so 10th house is career. So what other Scorpio placements do you have?
Scorpio placements do I have? My Scorpio is in Pluto, and that is it. That's
Okay.
all I have for Scorpio.
Okay. All right. So Pluto is a outer planet. Pluto, it takes about 20 years to move through a sign. It's considered a generational planet. Pluto destroys for the sake of rebuilding, which means within your career area, there will be a lot of, you know, things falling apart for the sake of them being built back better and stronger.
Okay. Okay.
But definitely you want to be looking at your career energy in the next 6 weeks because that's where all of that Scorpio energy is happening. You asked about the moons for the rest of the year. We have a new moon in Libra coming up. That's our next big lunation is a new moon in Libra. So, Libra energy, we have been working all year, specifically in my community, on our Libra shadows. In my membership community, we all have very strong Libra placements. And the thing about Libra is it's very charming, diplomatic, balanced. It's a beautiful energy, but the shadows run deep. Libra shadows are things like people pleasing, seeking validation, overgiving, the things that, especially as women, like we don't know how to get out of that. So, with this new moon in Libra, you want to make sure that you are fully stepping out of those Libra shadows, so you can fully step into the light side of Libra, the balance side of Libra, because we cannot move forward in our individual missions if we are still stuck in people pleasing and seeking validation, and overgiving. Because everything that we're doing, everything that we're here to do is all about relationships. In some way or another, we are in relationship with other people in order to do this work that we're here to do. Libra traditionally represents the seventh house. Libra is a relationship driven energy. So for the new moon in Libra, you definitely want to make sure that you are bringing in the diplomacy and the charm and the balance within your relationships, and very specifically choosing to cut the ties with those Libra shadows. So then we're going to have what? We're going to have a full moon in Taurus. And that is going to be really powerful, not only for your Taurus ruled house, but for all things money. Taurus traditionally rules the second house. So this is all about how we're earning money. Bree, for you, that's going to be especially powerful in tied with your career energy that this Scorpio stuff is bringing in. So that's really, that's going to be a really nice transit to focus on. Yeah, so I think that's a lot. Because even though we think, oh, the year's almost over, we're coming down, it's almost done. No, we actually have a fair amount of deep work to do if we want that 111 to actually be the clean slate that it wants to be. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. I am going to move on to Libby because you're next in order, in backwards order. Libby, tell me what your question is.
Oh my gosh. Well, I had questions all ready to go, but now you're talking about Bree's chart and some of the things that are going on. And I'm like, you know what? I think I need to focus on some of this
Okay.
because I'm hearing so much that oh, whew, it's a lot. And it has been intense. This
Yes.
year has been extremely intense. As an Aquarius with a stellium, like what, five or six planets,
You have
and it
seven. You have seven
Seven.
Aquarius
Okay.
placements.
I mean, it's crazy all the time. My life has been crazy, but even this year, it's like, oh my gosh, and I'm still in it. One thing I want to say is I have been cocooning big time. I mean, I go to work and I'm out, I go out to the in the world to do what I have to do, but I've been cocooning. It has just been so intense for me, and I it's the only way I can recharge. And by the way, I just want to just a side note, Angie, I did have a reading, a galactic human design reading with Tony. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, we will talk about that.
Oh,
That was a
yes, we
lot
will talk
too.
about that.
Yeah. What I wanted to mention or just ask is you had mentioned that this is the 9 year, we're ending the 9 year cycle
Mhm.
and looking back to 2016, 2017. 2016 is when I had a massive spiritual awakening.
Yep.
It was actually wonderful. It was not horrible. It wasn't this thing where everything fell apart in my life. It just was like it opened up so much expansion for me. And I had, from that point on, just so many things took place, channeling and connecting in with the galactics and just, lots of intense stuff, but it was good. So I'm wondering and curious now, because I think I know the answer to this, but as now we're phasing out now this 9 year cycle and we're coming to an end because I definitely want to start a clean slate.
Mhm.
111. I've always been about January 1st. It's
Mhm.
always been a big deal for me. I love that time of year. And now when you said that, I went, oh yeah, clean slate, definitely. But what I'm wondering and curious about is that spiritual awakening that I had back in 2016, 9 years ago. I'm not necessarily phasing it out. I think I'm starting a new, and I'm not going to say chapter, I'm going to say a new book.
Book. Yes.
That's what I'm
Book.
sensing. Yeah, a book.
Yes.
And yeah, I was wondering about that. Also, my so you talked about the shadow work of the Libra. My daughter-in-law is a Libra, and I don't know what kind of shadow work she's been working on, but when you said overgiving, that has been a pattern for me for years. It's like I was born into overgiving,
Mhm.
learned it through my family, but also it's just been part of who I am. And really, literally for the first time in this last several weeks, it's become more aware. I've become more aware of the ways in which I overgive and how I am not going to be doing that any longer, or at
Mhm.
least have this awareness that I want to stop that and focus on the overgiving towards myself rather than others. I'm in a position, a career that tends to have to overgive, and it's been part of my role, but I think that may be ending as well.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe my astrology, my chart would say that. But anyway, so those were just a few things that came up for me. And I realized that, and it's not a lot of time. 6 weeks is not a lot of time for me to be able to close out these last 9 years. Yet I trust the universe knowing that I've done the work. I've done a
Mhm.
lot of work, done a lot of work, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of therapy, a lot of all kinds of shit stuff. So
Yep.
anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't know if you want to talk about that or if you actually want specific questions from me.
Yeah, so I'll say a couple things. First of all, closing the book, absolutely. We are 100%. This is not closing a chapter. This is completely closing a book. So you are right
For
on.
everyone,
Yes,
for everyone.
for
Yeah.
everyone. And the thing is, we have free will, right? So you have to choose. You can choose to carry the old stuff with you if that's your choice. You can choose not to step into the new if that's your choice, because we do have free will in all of this. But for those of us who are here to do this work, we know that we are closing a book, and we know that we have bigger, more important things on the other side. And so we know the importance of this on a grand scale. So, yes, absolutely closing the book. Now, right now, we are in Libra season, which is why all of those Libra shadows are being currently highlighted for you. Even though I say that we've been working on them in my community all year, we started working on them earlier when we had a full moon in Libra back in like March, I believe. March or April, somewhere in there it would have been. So that's when we started letting go of those Libra issues that don't serve us anymore. And because we all have so many strong Libra placements, it's been a, progress that we've made all year. But Libra season right now is highlighting all of that for us once again. So that is very aligned with what you are currently doing. Now, I don't recall exactly what Libra placements you have. I know I looked at your chart before, um, but whatever placements you have in your Libra house, that's going to be add an extra layer.
I'm looking at Libra. I guess that would be my third house. I have
Mhm.
absolutely nothing in that house.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
blank on my chart.
Okay, well, so I'm glad you said that because that's a really good thing to talk about in general. An empty house does not mean that it's not important, does not mean that nothing happens there. What it means is that you don't have any extra energies that are in the way. So you don't have any placements there that are constantly needing to be dealt with. So the transits are more free to do their job because they're not bumping up against anything else. So right now with the sun moving through Libra, those Libra issues are more easily highlighted by the sun because it's not bumping into anything else. It's kind of like, here's another analogy for you. If you were to, take a vacation and get an Airbnb, and you go into the Airbnb and expect that you're the only person renting it and you're free to move about and do your thing freely without any body in your way, that would be your empty house. But say you go to the Airbnb and you find out that you're actually sharing it with five other people. you know, you're going to have a much harder time because you're going to be bumping into the five other people. So that's kind of the difference of the transits are free to move and do their thing without issue when you have an empty house. Now, I'll say this as well. Empty houses, they're not a huge place of focus for us in our life. And I'll give you an example. If you have an empty fifth house is where our children are. If you have an empty fifth house, it doesn't mean that you can't have kids. It means if you choose to have kids, you are going to spend a tremendous amount of energy raising those kids when your energy is actually intended to go somewhere else. So it is pulling focus. If you choose to put a lot of energy into an empty house, it in a grand sense, it is pulling focus. If you have an empty seventh house where your long-term relationships are and you've been married 3 or 4 times, that's pulling focus because you keep trying to do something that really is not so much intended for you to do. Does that make sense? So those are the couple of different things that I have to say about empty houses. Also, I want to say, because you mentioned 6 weeks is not enough time. It's not enough time. This stuff happens naturally if you are open to it and allow it. So please do not put that pressure on yourself like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, that, and the other, or what work do I have to do? That is not going to help you in this. Float. Put yourself on a float in a beautiful pool and see what you bump into. What you bump into is what you're meant to see. What you bump into is the work that you're meant to do. Just be open and allow, and what you need to do, what you need to see is going to be shown to you. But if you get in that energy of, oh my gosh, what do I need to do? What do I then, you're going to add that extra layer of anxiety that's not really going to serve you. So let it be. It's going to happen. You are a incredibly intuitive, powerful woman. You know how to do this work. You've been doing this work. Just let it happen. The only thing I have to say about the Scorpio energy is that it is very deep. It is highly transformative. It can be very taboo, and it can dig up things that we may not want to look at. So if those things are coming up for you that are deep, painful, taboo, things that you'd rather shove down, you really need to look at it. I'm not saying go search it out. Pay attention to what's coming up.
Yeah, no, I have been looking at it. And that's, I think, part of the cocooning and part of the intensity too, is just I'm looking at it and it is painful and it is uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. I've been very, very uncomfortable. But I'm attempting, as you said, to just be as open and move through it as best that I know how with and I'm receiving all of this insight and all of these aha moments, which has been wonderful. And so I have massive amount of notes. I can't
Yeah.
tell you, writing everything down. And sometimes it doesn't pertain any longer because it happened even a month ago. And what happened a month ago isn't really, bringing up stuff for me. But it's just so interesting to me, this flow that's taking place, and I'm just in awe of the universe and creator and of myself, my higher self, that I'm actually, and I actually am really proud of myself for being as open and receiving all of
Mhm.
this because I know what that means. I know that on the other side of all of this, there is going to be so much more, I don't know if I want to say enlightenment, but what's that word? Evolvement, like
Mhm.
evolving. We're all evolving.
Mhm.
And as you said earlier, that we're doing the work because we all are going to be helping others. And that still is very important to me in a different capacity. I want to be there for others as you are,
Mhm.
and whatever that looks like for me. Of course, it's going to be different from everyone, but it's important for me to be there for others in a capacity that I can also offer gifts of them being able to increase their awareness and move their evolvement as well. So
Yes, this is
that's
the
kind of where
butterfly
I'm at.
effect, right? This is the butterfly
Yes,
effect.
right.
We are doing this. We have to do the work for ourselves so that we can then do it for other people, so that they can then do it for other people. This is the butterfly effect. This is way bigger than us. This is way bigger than this lifetime. This is carrying forward, for generations in the future of this planet. So it's bigger than we know. It is
And you have the
absolutely.
three butterflies behind you.
Yes, yes, I do. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you said something earlier about the overgiving. You wanted to overgive to yourself, and I love that. And we need to be giving from our overflow. We need to make sure that we individually are so fully resourced that we are only giving to others when we are giving from our overflow, because we are not going to give. I want to use the word adequately, but I don't like that word. We're not going to give the value that we are capable of giving if we are pulling from our own scraps. So, yes, part of this process is learning to give to yourself first and give to yourself so fully that what you are giving to others is actually from your overflow and it's not hurting you, it's not harming you, it's not taking away from you, because you are fully resourced first. That for me has been a huge lesson. I have 6 placements in my first house, including my North Node, and learning that my journey and destiny in this life is coming home to myself, putting myself first, allowing myself to be fulfilled, and really understanding that, yes, I am here to help others, but first and foremost, my life is about me, myself, and I. That's a huge shift to make, especially when you come from, a background of religion and all that stuff. That is a huge shift to make. So yeah, make sure that you are doing what you need to fully resource yourself and then give from the overflow. That's a process. That takes us time as women to figure out how to do that. Yeah. All right, Maggie, you're up.
Yay, thank you. Just I love everything because seeing where I need my Scorpio is in my fourth house and where I get to play, and same with the new moon in Libra. One little other acknowledgement too. I've been tracking my moon and know that like when it's the moon is in Capricorn and Aquarius, those are my favorite days of the month. And I was like, okay, there needs to be more than 5 favorite days in a month.
Yes.
So we just got through Taurus in the moon, which is my hardest one, where I literally wake up and I'm judgmental of my body. It is fascinating now to see how that works. And so
Mm-hmm.
I moved through it very differently these last 2 days, which was cool. But I just wanted to acknowledge this. So part of my mission is to find the beauty in all of the other moon moments. But I think my biggest question right now is I've been looking at launch, like I am going to launch some sort of group program and I'm looking at like when the timing is. I have a sense of maybe when that is, but I'd love your feedback and or, with everything that's happening and everything that people are moving through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you're talking about launching, and what's coming up for the rest of the year, we do have another Mercury retrograde. And I know in the business world, there are people that will tell you, if you're never going to launch during a Mercury retrograde, then you're really kind of shooting yourself in the foot. There are people in that camp. I think it depends on where the Mercury retrograde falls for you, which it is in this time around. It starts in Sagittarius and moves back into Scorpio. So for you, as a Leo rising, Sagittarius is your fifth house, right? And the Scorpio is your fourth. So neither of those are necessarily business related. So it's not going to be the end of the world if you are trying to do something in that time period. If it was falling in your third house of communication or your 10th house of career or your 11th house of community, I would probably say hard no, don't bother because you're just swimming upstream. Um, but with it being in your fourth and fifth house, I will say it is not going to be as impactful on your business. But keep in mind that it's not just Mercury retrograde for you in your chart, it's Mercury retrograde for everybody else in their chart. So while things might be okay and semi aligned for you, they could still be completely unaligned for the people that you're trying to call in.
When is that? What is the time frame of Mercury?
I don't have the
Okay.
exact dates, but it is in November.
Okay. I'm looking at launching in December. So
Okay. Yeah, so I think, yeah, Mercury goes, I know Mercury moves back into Sagittarius on December 11th. That I do know. Because I was looking to see with all of the Scorpio energy, when is the last of the Scorpio energy? And Mars moves out of Scorpio first, then Venus does its Scorpio transit. But Mercury is the last one to finish because of the retrograde and going back and forth. So, yeah, I think December, you're probably safer than November. Yeah. Um, but yeah, if you feel good about launching at the end of the year, um, you know, go for it. Maybe people can give themselves holiday gifts. Yeah, it probably is better, honestly, and you would have this answer better than me as the money person, but it probably is better to get people um, in December than in January because they're in the money spending mode in
but
December.
that, and it's also like I'm setting it up so that it launches and we kind of have like an initial call on the new moon on the 19th. I think
Hmm.
19th or 20th is the new moon. And then we officially start in January. So like
Yeah,
kind of like, yeah. So then they're in money spending. They also like if they're business owners, they can write it off for this year. And it just feels like they can start with a clean slate, so to say, or have
yeah,
that initial like
yeah.
decision made before the new year.
Yeah, I feel like this new year is going to be a little bit different as far as like starting things and launching things. Normally, I am the person that says, January, February, most of March, like we're not going to mess with because we're in the depths of winter. And so we really should be hibernating then. We shouldn't be out doing new things. We should be hermiting and, staying in and everything is dormant. We need to be dormant too. And life begins on spring equinox, March 20th. But this year, I feel like that's going to be a little bit different because of the 1 year, because January 1st is that 111. It's giving us a little more of a boost, I think, collectively, to start things in January. So even though I am usually hardcore, wait until spring to really start fresh. I'm not a fan of the New Year's resolutions. I feel like we need to let winter be winter. this next one might be a little bit different. Yeah. Do you have anything else, Maggie?
Well, like, yeah, if I can ask one more, like just about how, I guess, based on my placements, like my where my houses are, how can I make various moons easier for myself? Because it just feels like, and maybe it's just looking at like, Taurus is hard. It's my where my Chiron is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that one, I just have to really be like pause and be really intentionally nurturing of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm my senses, and I'd love your feedback for all the other houses is just probably looking at what that is and where really in those moments, because it just feels I can see the energy and how it affects me. So how do I like, I guess it's looking at the house and being like, just say for, when let me see, like Pisces, when it's the moon in Pisces, I tend to be really teary, which
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, right?
Yes.
So I
Uh-huh.
guess it's more, I don't know if it's a question or an acknowledgement. Like I just need to be nourishing of that aspect of me that's super teary. Like I'm teary at that time. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's understanding yourself. Once you track it for 30, 60, 90 days, you have that much bigger understanding of your own cycles and how you feel and how you operate through each moon. Now, that's not necessarily going to change. What is going to change is your awareness of it and how you choose to approach it. So it's like, okay, I know if I'm an emotional wreck every Pisces moon, then maybe I shouldn't schedule 3 client calls on a Pisces moon, you know? So the cycles don't change, but how you approach them changes. Yes, when the moon is in Taurus and you know your Chiron is there and you are being very judgmental against your body, you need to intentionally give yourself grace. But you can do that because you now have awareness around it, where in the past you're just like hating on yourself and not knowing why. So it's you make it easier on yourself by making other choices that don't have anything to do with the moon, that have to do with your business and your relationships and your rest and your play and all of that stuff. You align everything else with how you know you're going to feel each moon, and that is what makes it easier. You can't change the fact that you're going to be an emotional mess on a Pisces moon. You can change how many other things you have to do on a Pisces moon. Does that make sense?
yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's
Yep.
again coming back to like my overflow, right? Because I get depleted when I don't have those things in place.
Yes. Yeah. Always. Once you learn the cycle and you really learn to navigate it, you have to figure out for yourself, and this is very individual, how you can keep your cup full all the way around. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, ladies? No? Okay.
I
Yeah.
do. I do. Today is the 1010 portal,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just curious. I don't think we've talked about it. Do you have any thoughts on
Um,
that at
I mean,
all?
it's a cool number, right? When we talk about it being a portal, like there is nothing specifically astrologically happening in the sky. When we it's cool as far as numerology goes. It's not as cool as 111. Okay, because today is 10 10 9. So, and I'll tell you this, I chose this date um because first because it was I thought 10 10 sounded cool, but the second, like literally within seconds, I looked at the calendar, I looked at the moon. I know a Gemini moon is good for me. Gemini moon, it works well for me. So I thought, okay, this looks like a good date. 10 10 sounds cool. And literally 3 seconds later, my husband texted me 10 10. Because if it's 10 10, 11 11, 12 12, and he happens to see it, he will text me the number. So I'm like looking at my planner going, okay, 10:10, and then there's my phone lighting up 10:10. So that's why I chose the date. Not I When we talk about portals, eclipses are portals. Full moons are portals. There are times when things are astrologically happening to make it a portal. And then there are times when it's just a cool number on the calendar. Today is a semi-cool number on the calendar. And I say semi-cool because it's 10-10-9. Make sense? Yeah. So that was that was a similar thing. Like people get all caught up with the Lion's Gate. Um, there's not a lot to back up what's actually going on in the sky on August 8th. It comes from a history of things that were going on in the sky a long time ago, in August or in late July or in early August. But the Lionsgate thing tied in with 8-8 just is because somebody just chose to put it together and we ran with it.
I think the reason why I like Lionsgate is because that's my ascendant,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Good.
Leo, and I'm like, oh yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, and it's cool and it's fun, but there is a difference in what's a cool number from a numerology standpoint and what's actually a portal. So they're two different things. Yeah. Bree?
Um, if I wanted to schedule something of kind of like a run through, because honestly, astrology for me has been one of the harder aspects. Like I can wrap my head around human design, German new medicine. I got you all day long. But astrology and me, the houses, the signs, the ups, the downs, the ascendants, the Liliths, I don't really, it doesn't resonate with me. So like if I wanted to do a deep dive with you, would you be available for something like sooner rather than later to do that, or are you fairly busy?
Yeah, no, no, I can certainly fit you in. And
Okay.
yeah, there's a couple different options there. And since you brought that up, I'll go ahead and segue into what my current offers are. So as far as like single sessions, I have two main ones. The deep dive birth chart reading is one where, we're going to look at about 11 of your placements. You get a very extended PDF with all kinds of information, my intuitive views on your placements. It's a 75-minute call. You get the recording of the call. It's very extensive if you're looking for the deep dive in your chart. I also have a single one-on-one session, which is basically an anything goes session. If you want to just ask about like a single area of your life or like what you need to focus on for the next couple of months or what relationships are looking like for you or, just it's more kind of question based, and it also brings in tarot as well. So that's my intuitive guidance and clarity session. So those are my two main single sessions. I also have my membership community, which is a beautiful place where we are together on a regular basis. We meet twice a month. There's weekly posts that I send out on the energy and tracking your lunar cycle and all of that stuff. And then I have my deeper work that I do with people, which is basically a 6 month intensive one-on-one work where if you're really looking to transform yourself in the deepest way and the fastest way, we work intensively together for 6 months. So that's the highlights of kind of the three different levels there. But whichever way you go, you still get me. You still get me and all of my magical intuitive abilities. You get my reflector wisdom, you get my intuitive channel, you get my lived experience, you get my education, you get the full package. You just get it in different ways, whether it's through the membership, through a single session, or through the really deep, intensive work. But yeah, we can totally, if you want to do the deep dive, we can get you in. Yeah, we can get you in sooner than later.
Okay.
So we can talk in a DM about scheduling that.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I think our time is up. If there's nothing else, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time and I've enjoyed it with you guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Angie.
Angie. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you, Bree.
You as well, Libby. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You
Bye-bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.